How the heck are everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a Watcher of Realms video. As you can see from your screen, I'm not alone today. I'm joined by Ray from the Dragon Slayers community because we are talking about awakening legendary heroes. We are talking about the top 12 legendaries that we love to pull dupes of. You want to say hi, Ray?
Hey guys, thanks for having me again, Fast. Looking forward to this one, guys.
Absolutely, total pleasure. And in case you don't know Ray from our previous collabs or you're not familiar with the Forerunner server, this, honestly, Ray, you are the #1 person I think that we have to have for this video because no one knows more about pulling duplicate legendary heroes than this guy on your screen right now, let me tell you.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
I'll give Ray the mic in 1 second to expand upon that, but how about we start with Calypso? You tell us why we love pulling Calypso so much, but maybe just to humor me and the audience, how many times do you think you've pulled Calypso on your Forerunner? Just on your Forerunner.
Honestly, for Calypso, I honestly couldn't even keep a count right now. If you've watched Fasty's other videos, he did note some of the soul dust that I do have. And for instance, I think it's like 11,000 or 12,000 for the Lego soul dust. In reference, that's 100 dust for every Lego that you get rid of. So do the math on that. That's 120 Legos that I've dusted.
You're only dusting them when you hit A5, right?
Yeah.
So there's some other whales and krakens that'll be like, oh, I don't want Azor, I don't want Kraj. Ray, those are just the 120 extra legendaries. A lot of Calypso has been pulled by this man on your screen right now. So Ray, tell me, why is Calypso so fun to keep pulling? Because she's not the most meta hero at the beginning, but as you get more awakening, she only gets better and better, right?
Yeah, like, so a lot of the videos that I've been watching, a lot of people downplay Calypso a little bit. Or they're just tired of pulling her. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, A5 Calypso she's definitely end game S tier or S plus tier I'd put her at. Depending on the gear that you have and like how much you're gonna actually farm to get that gear. But she's definitely viable. She can be viable in a guild boss team with the Piercer faction if you have the proper lord. So Arrogance is key to that for guild boss progression. But just in overall progression, I'd say like a proper build on Calypso can really take you to full end game capabilities, like no problem at all. Mine personally, I don't use the Setram standard or the Idril standard in gear raid 321. Calypso and Silas just absolutely face smash the boss instantly, and then I just auto delete everyone off the screen and away we go on the two sides. So that's how I do it. I do have a video out on that if anyone wants to check it out on her channel. But yeah, man, like I love this hero.
Absolutely. I only have my A0 Calypso, so she's someone who, would I be over the moon every time I pull a dupe? No. But would I be significantly happy knowing I'm working towards a proper endgame hero? Absolutely. Just to very quickly catch people up to speed, I'm not going to go through the whole kit of all the heroes you see in this video. However, the reason people don't love Calypso is because she's built around these seal stones, and it takes a while to get that up and running. It takes her a little while to generate them. Eventually, she can generate 4. However, if you are able to get her A5, at her A1, we got to highlight when a seal stone, so she summons them, they're behind her. When she deals damage, they deal damage. They're going to increase rage by 5. So more and more she's getting her ult up, then she's getting more seal stones, and then at A5 she gets an increase to the number she can have. The cat 4 seal stones increases to 5. Now she has 5 little extra things floating around her doing damage. She really is tremendous. How much damage can she do in your guild boss runs? Because Ray, if everyone doesn't know, has one of the top guild boss teams on Forerunner.
Yeah, so I pair her with a Dolores, as everyone should, but that's where you're going to get your most damage out of her. So right now, I think she crits for about 170k, but each seal stone crits for about 90k on top of that. So multiply that by 5, and yeah, her damage is outrageous. It's absolutely
450k plus 170k per hit, right? So 620k,
Yeah.
she is no joke when she's up and running. All right, on to, we're gonna kind of alternate here between heroes that are a bit more maybe you wouldn't think about, and then ones that are total no-brainers. The no-brainers we won't spend as much time on. So let's talk about Arrogance. I'll take the lead here. Arrogance was my first big legendary I ever pulled. He was only like the 4th legendary I got on my account. Arrogance, if you don't know, is about as good as a fighter gets. He is very much a jack of all trades and a master of many of those trades. He's just kind of great at everything, whether that be PvP content, PvE content, or just destroying the guild boss. He's in every late game and end game guild boss team that does use a Nightmare faction as one of their teams. He's just fantastic. To go over his awakenings, I'm going to highlight 2 here, his Awakened 3 and his Awakened 5. Then I'll hand the mic over to you, Ray. So you're getting 15% extra damage to targets when they're under burning. If you're running Arrogance, he's putting out burning all the time when he has a bit of a range. However, if you're using him in guild boss, he won't put out burning, but he will be on a Nightmare team with someone almost certainly putting out burning, or he'll be with a Zilitu or something, right? So it's basically just all the time. He's gonna have 15% extra damage, and that is multiplicative, super, super strong. And then that A5, maybe I'll let you talk about the A5, Ray, because I know you have Arrogance at A5.
Yeah, I do. I just pulled Arrogance on my global server too, so it's kind of nice to have that backup hero. But yeah, in my guild boss team, again, I'll just reference back to one of my videos, the 70,000k world first, or 70,000 million, sorry. He's putting up, I can't remember the actual numbers, but he's in my top 2. He actually fights Zilitu for damage. So I think the 2 of them were around 175 for Zilitu or 185 or something like that. And my Arrogance was putting up about 150. So he's definitely viable and properly built. Yeah, man, like this guy is an absolute monster in this game. I would actually say he's probably my most used character in this game, as far as progression goes, depending on what I'm doing. But for the most part, if anything where there's a ground unit, Arrogance is usually taking up one of those spots.
There you have it, people. The guy with almost every A5 in the entire game, the most used ground unit, is going to be Arrogance. I think that's enough said. On to a pretty quick one, but a very fun one, and perhaps somehow an underrated hero. That's going to be Cerberus. So we really want to key in on Cerberus's A3. If anyone doesn't know, you kind of drop Cerberus, you let him die, and the damage is bonkers. He's a dual faction member between Chaotic and Cultist. I'll just go straight to the A3 here. So when his HP drops below 50%, which is going to happen almost instantly because you're going to build him very fragile, so if he dies, that counts as a drop, or he's going to deal damage to himself during his ultimate. So one way or another, this is going to happen real quick. It's going to double the damage he's dealing. So very, very potent. This guy is a staple in a lot of GR1 teams. He's king of AoE DPS arena. And then I think, Ray, you can tell us a little bit about him and also what he's being used for in new content now as well.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite heroes in the game, and I think very underrated. Up until recent, I have him in my AoE DPS arena team. He's been taking me right to Overlord, no problem. Anyone that fights me, I'm sorry. But I have been beaten, so, you know, kudos to those guys that have already figured out this team meta. But yeah, Cerberus as a whole, man, he obviously, like you said, he's a GR1 staple hero. But in the new content, in the new Codex content on the Forerunner server, I'm still playing with it, but I've gotten him to do 4.59 million damage or 4.95. Yeah, is that what I said? I can't remember. I don't know. It's way too early here. But yeah, anyway, he's an absolute DPS monster. He's what carries you through the very first stage. There's a hint, not a spoiler, but make sure that he is built properly. One thing I'm going to point out that I don't know if this is a spoiler or if this is just here, try this out, but he does have an artifact that kind of helps him out a lot. So normally he can't be healed, but if you put a Soul Drainer artifact on him, he self-heals through the damage. And you can imagine at one fully awakened or fully promoted Soul Drainer, I think it's 1.2% of max HP. So do the math on that. If you have, 40, 50 things that he's hitting, and every second it ticks on 40 or 50 things, I don't need to say anymore.
Absolutely. So to quickly say, Soul Drainer is amazing for Cerberus. However, if you are going to use him in something like Arena, it actually is probably better to let him die quickly. But with that little teaser you're putting out there, he's going to be a beast in Codex. And also to put that 4.59 million into perspective, let me know if I'm correct. You have the record for that stage of Codex on the whole server for Forerunner, and he was your top damage dealer, right?
100%. Yeah.
So enough said. Enough said.
Yeah.
Into the gallery again to talk about an absolute no-brainer. I'll get this one started. Silas. Who doesn't want Silas? Especially if you got Virna, and then if you have Silas, you want your Virna, but then you've got him. What can you do after that? Well, you can awaken this guy as you get dupes, and gosh, is he insane. We do not need to spend much time on him at all because everyone knows how good Silas is. However, his A3, when there are more than 2 marksmen on the field, increases damage of the hero and 1 random allied marksman by 15%. This is a victim. This description is a victim of a similar thing that we have in Tide, where they actually mean 2 or more. But there's some kind of language issue here, so they said more than 2. That is not true, so you can have complete control on who else gets the buff. So if your first marksman's Idril or Tariel, your second one, no, Idril was correct. Your second one is Silas. They're both getting this buff, which is insane. You have total control over it, and it is very potent, not just for him, but for your Tariel or your Calypso or Hex, whomever that may be. And then the A5, the Mark of Eye of Curse will increase piercing damage or physical damage to the target. Yeah, physical damage to the target by 15%. That is not, and he's putting this mark on whenever he keeps hitting the same target. So think Guild Boss. He's guaranteed to keep hitting the same target. So it's going to have the mark. And this is not just damage dealt by Silas. This is damage dealt by anybody. So it's basically like a universal debuff that is unique. It's not like a physical damage vulnerability, so it does stack with other debuffs. So basically everyone's just going to start popping off. I'm assuming you use Silas all the time, right, Ray?
I actually don't in my Forerunner server. Only because I was unfortunate to only pull 1 copy of him, and probably for about 7 months I didn't pull another copy, and then I all of a sudden got 2 more copies of him. So I actually have him A3 on my Forerunner server, so if you're ever doing a pull party for my Forerunner account again, that's Silas. Who I want.
Yeah.
But again, I won't say it because I don't like disappointment. So
yes. Okay, so if you could get him A5, you'd be over the moon for your Guild Boss, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's somebody that I would chase to A5 for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, Silas is a total god, a blind king indeed. All right, Setram, I'm going to let you take Setram because I know how much you love this guy.
Yeah, so when Setram first came out, he was kind of like God mode S tier. A lot of people were having a lot of issues trying to break shields on Nightmare 4. Setram just kind of put you in that zone where you didn't even have to try anymore to break shields. It was just hold off on Setram and then pop Zilitu and pop Setram at the same time, and Sun and Moon and Stars all align, and away the shields went, right? So I love this guy. He's taken me very, very far in Guild Boss progression, as most of people know who I am anyway. But yeah, attack range deals 30% more damage to enemy units with shields lasting for 15 seconds. So, when each one of those shields goes off, if you pop that just before the shield goes off, he'll do his 2 or 3 second interval to get set up. But as soon as he starts going, you can just watch that shield just kind of melt away. It's absolutely insane how the difference that he makes in a Guild Boss team. That being said too, there's some progression in faction trials where he comes very viable. More shield based damage, but without him it would be tough. It would be a lot tougher, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is excellent. And that last part you just highlighted, but the first part as well, grants a buff for up to 2 allies with the highest current attack within range. They're also going to start dealing more damage to shields from his A1. So that is fantastic. If we go down to his A5, the duration of Overlord, this is what his whole kit is built around. This is the effect that triggers during his ultimate, during Fortress Stance. It's increased by 5 seconds, which is really, really nothing to ignore. I mean, it is crazy. So let's see. All right, so let me go to his actual skill. As you can see, his ultimate, it lasts for 15 seconds. You get him A5, it's going to be 33% longer, 20 seconds. And if you're insanely lucky, And you also get his exclusive artifact that adds another 5 seconds. So you could get this thing going for an extra 10 seconds at a max of 25 seconds. Setram's amazing. He might be the final key in me taking down the last shield for Nightmare 4. I still need to land the level 5 into his ultimate, because right now I cannot get the cost up without enough rage regen. I have no Hollow or no Eloin. So Setram is a staple. Let's keep going. This one we can be, I think, the shortest amount of time we spend on anyone. Zilitu, enough said, right?
Oh, goddess. That's all I can say to this. Like, you don't have her, you want her. If you have her, you want her A5.
Yeah, exactly. Like you finally get Zilitu. I finally got Zilitu, and it's like, boy, would I like more. Because every awakening is amazing, but really this A3, all of a sudden her insanely long 35 second ultimate is now going to last 45 seconds. That's got to be the longest ultimate in the game, I think. You let me know if I'm wrong on that one. And then finally, her A4 actually want to highlight rage regen attack +2. You get her in a nice high attack speed build. That's a very meta thing to do with Zilitu. She's going to get lots of attacks, an extra 2 ticks of rage per hit. You're just going to get that amazing 45-second ult going even more. She's so freaking good.
Oh yeah. Honestly, like, if I had to pick a hero in the game that I wanted first, if I had a dead account or a brand new account, Zilitu is my number one. I wouldn't want anyone else.
She's too good. Here's another hero that I know some people are soured on, and I really don't know why, but I know, Ray, you and I both love her, and that is Nyx. So Nyx and I have a very interesting relationship. For anyone that missed it, she was one of my first heroes I got a dupe of, and I went to awaken her, and I fed my fully promoted, fully built level 60 Nyx into my brand new level 1 Nyx. So if you haven't seen the Nyx up video, go check that out. A Nyx up indeed. However, Nyx is amazing. She's not as exciting and mind-blowing as some other heroes because there's not so much going on in her kit. She's a vampire. She looks like she might do some bleed. She doesn't. She just does AoE, a bit of AoE, some AoE, and that's kind of it, but she does it really well, and once you get her awakenings into her, she does it even better. So let's highlight the ultimate here. This is going to last for 25 seconds, or excuse me, 30 seconds. However, if you get her awakened, all of a sudden it's going to last for 35 seconds, so 1/6 more of time. That is super duper strong. If we then go to her A5, if you keep getting copies of her and build her all the way up, each basic attack launch now is every other chance, right? A 50% chance, 1 in 2 chance to inflict AoE damage just to get, right? So she's basically doing 33% more damage because every other time she's doing double damage. I think she's fantastic. Right? Again,
this is one of the heroes that when I watch other videos on YouTube and whatnot, a lot of people were getting upset at pulling a Nyx, and I was sitting there like, are you guys crazy? Like, she is so good. If you can get her to 8.5, even A3 is extremely good on her, but A5 really shines. Again, if you want to check out my GR3 21 video, super speedy run, but my Nyx, her damage is unreal. Like, she flattens the whole left side. Like, it's not even trying. It's just like face roll across the keyboard and away you're done.
Yeah,
like,
she
runs over.
She's tremendous. I loved her when I had her. She was like the 3rd legendary I ever got, the first like good one I ever got. And then once I got her A1, this is crazy. 35 seconds of just doing proper damage. What I love about Nyx is she's not clunky at all. She's slightly expensive at 22 cost. But you kind of drop her, the ult comes pretty quick. You just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. On to Hex. This is another one that I think is a straight up no-brainer, so we don't have to spend too much time. How good is Hex? I only have mine A0 and I love him already. How much do you love Hex?
I loved Hex.
We're gonna get into this already.
Loved for a reason. So I was probably the first one to have an A5 Hex, or one of the first people to have an A5 Hex. I think there was like a couple other people on the Forerunner server that got him before me. But that being said, I kind of wish I didn't A5 Hex. I did had multiple conversations about this with certain people. We'll keep them nameless. But anyway, taking him to A5, super awesome just to have him at A5. It does increase his BP, but at the end of the day, that drawing a card of fate, so let me pull him up here. Actually, I don't even have him on my global server, so I can't pull him up because that's what I'm on right now. But yeah, the card of fate. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, the card of fate. So the problem with this Awaken is that there's a lull in him doing this drawing. So it actually decreases his damage. So when I had him at A4, I could probably pump out about 130 to 150 million damage on the guild boss. Once I went to A5, because of that effect of him doing the drawback for the big arrow that he does, or the card that he throws, I forget which animation it is, but anyway, long story made short, it decreases his damage, and it took mine down about 30 million damage. So I absolutely regret A5ing him, and if you do get an extra copy of him, leave him at A4, please, because you will regret it until Moonton fixes it.
Yeah, and important to say, guys, all these 4 awakenings up until then are amazing, and on paper A5 should be amazing. The issue is this animation. It's kind of, I don't know if it's a glitch or a bug or how you ever describe it. The animation just takes a little while, the same way Setram takes a while to load up, and because of that it throws everything off and he actually ends up putting out less damage. If you get an A5 one, so you get your 6th copy, do not crunch it, because they should fix this, and hopefully they will fix this soon. So if you're watching developers fix it, just make the animation fast. Look, it would make Ray so happy. But all these awakenings up until then are still amazing. And yes, on paper, this one's amazing too. The 2 I want to highlight, this one I have a grievance with, the Fool. Amazing thing, the Fool does crazy damage, 500% damage 3 times, and inflicts 75% slow and burning. Amazing, right? However, it says there's a chance. It drives me insane that it doesn't say there's a 25% chance or a 10% chance or a 40% chance. I just want to mention that. However, very cool effect and a crazy card to unlock. I know a lot of people do have Hex at A1, so congrats. And then if you get him all the way up to A3, during the effect of Mad Truth, performing basic attacks against, and Mad Truth being this move over here, his ultimate, basic attacks against targets inflicted with burn, which if you're using him in like Guild Boss or something, or just a lot of content because he puts out some burn too, depending on his cards, as long as he hits someone with burn, it's going to extend the duration of his ultimate by 1 second. So a high attack speed Hex can keep that ultimate up for a really long time, right?
Yeah, one thing I'm going to point out too is his ultimate. Again, I did a video on Hex before he was released to Global, but I did point out his ultimate and how long it actually lasts for. I went through 2 Dolores ultimates for every 1 Hex ultimate, so keep that in mind. He's always in ultimate. If he's not, if you have enough rage regen, he's always in ultimate.
Pretty insane stuff. On to Nocturne, who I think has all of a sudden gotten a bad rap, not for any real reason except for he was on the Zilitu banner and people were getting disappointed they were getting him, not Zilitu, and people are like, oh no, another Nocturne instead of Zilitu. Boy, are y'all wrong. I'll leave this one off. You can wrap it up, Ray. Nocturne has some of the best awakenings in the game. Nocturne's already just a good hero. However, Nocturne at A5 is just a totally different hero. He does true damage. He's got a good kit. He's got solid numbers. But once you get him A1, we're going to highlight his A1 and his A5 here. Once you get him A1, all of a sudden the duration of his ultimate lasts 5 extra seconds. So it's going to go from 30 seconds to 35 seconds, just like Nyx. That extra time is essential because this is where some of his big damage is coming from. It's enabling lots of extra bonuses on top of the true damage he's going to start putting out. And then if you finally get him up to A5, I guess we can quickly mention his A3. Now he becomes viable, or easier to build, I should say, and more usable for things outside of true damage. He's getting some crit built into his kit, some extra crit damage, but then his A5, right? The first 3 basic attacks of Impure Wings, which again is the ultimate, automatically trigger Dark Sacrifice. What is Dark Sacrifice? That is what his entire kit is built around. Each attack launched has a 15% chance, goes up to 20% chance to deal true damage, equal to 300% of attack. True damage completely ignores defense, cannot crit. However, this is saying there's no 20% chance or 15% chance. Guaranteed, those first 3 hits are going to be 300% attack. True damage, 900% true damage guaranteed to start off the ultimate. How hard does this guy hit when you get him A5, Ray?
Mine hits for over 300,000. So, and he's built with over 400 attack speed, so he hits for 300,000 pretty consistently. I think I used him in my 50 million video for Guild Boss, and I can't remember his numbers, but he was up right around the 100 million mark, or 100 million. But one thing I will note, I do actually have him A5 on my global account, and I was lucky enough to get his exclusive artifact as well. So I do have that on him. So I'm just, pardon me for looking down, but I'm going to read it off. The trigger chance of Dark Sacrifice increases by an extra 10%. When it's triggered, the hero restores 35 rage. So getting that 35 rage back with like any kind of percentage of rage regen, you're looking at pretty consistently doing
crazy uptime.
300% damage. Yeah.
That is outrageous. Yeah. I mean, wow. So it's going to go to a 30% chance. You get him in a high attack speed build. That is highly encouraged for Nocturne. It's going to be triggering. Then the rage regen's triggering. So not only, so your Nocturne is God mode Nocturne.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good right now. He's doing all right. One nice thing about Nocturne is that you don't actually have to build him with 100% crit rate, like you stated already. You can put him at 80% and he gets that extra 20% from the Awaken, right? So
absolutely. Okay, so on to a hero, Ray, that you insisted we include in the list. Guys, obviously, this is a good moment for me to say, there are heroes that have great awakenings we did not mention. We just wanted to keep the list not crazy, so we're just doing the 12 that we absolutely love. So, Salazar. You really, Ray behind the scenes was like, this guy has to be on the list.
Well, honestly, like when we discussed this video in our list, that was the first name that I didn't see on the list, so I had to bring it up. But this guy is so staple for almost everything that I do. Whether it's progression, his burst DPS is just unmatched. Like, you can't match it. People will argue with me, Valeriya, but unless you really fine-tune Valeriya, she's dead. Every time. 100% of the time. So Salazar heals himself. He does crazy burst damage. I have mine at like 86% rage regen right now on my global account. So he's consistently hitting his ultimate like every 10 to 15 seconds. Like, it's just bang, back up, bang, back up. So I did sacrifice a little bit of damage on him for the time being, just because I don't have the proper gear set up for him, but I did put him in decent gear on my global account. But yeah, his rage regen on him and half decent gear, he can progress you through 90% of the end game stuff. So I had to have him included.
Of course, just to highlight the benefits from his awakenings, guys. So his Awaken 1, his chance to apply bleed is now increased by 10% on his basic attack. So this is something that could kind of hinder him. So it is at a 17% chance when you skill him up. Now it's at 27% chance. It makes a big difference. You build him in a high attack speed, like we said. It's going to keep a very, very high uptime. This is one shortcoming he has compared to other bleed heroes. This kind of evens the playing field in that respect. In every other way, he's basically better than every other bleed hero for the actual hero that he is. And then his A3 here, that bleed duration is now going to last an extra 2 seconds, guys. So I believe it goes from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, right? So it increases by 50%. That must make a huge difference, right?
Yeah, so like my 70 million team, I was running 3 Scarlet Hunts fully maxed with a Salazar. And I don't have my Salazar doing quite the damage that, do a little shout out here to Lewis, but his Salazar is absolute monster. I don't know how he does the damage that he does with him, but he's doing 100 mil damage with Salazar, and I'm hovering around there, but yeah, he, like, the uptime on that bleed makes a huge difference if you're running the Scarlet Hunt meta for your Guild Boss team. But like, for people that can't either figure out how to use Valeriya properly or just don't have her awakened, like, she really shines at A5. But if you don't have her, or you don't have her at A5, this is a team to have that can progress you to that very end game numbers that people are chasing on your Guild Boss. But just overall progression, man, like, this guy is just absolute beast in all progression. GR1, I use them at the very end just to burst down the boss, and it's over in under 10 seconds. So like, it's little things like that that can make a difference if you're just chasing a time or trying to do a speedier run or whatever.
Yeah, No doubt. Yeah, Salazar, fantastic hero, really one of the best in the game. All right, we got 2 left on the list. This next one, maybe Calypso already caught your ears. This one might as well if you caught my video with Ivy. This is very much like a spiritual successor to my video with Ivy, which was the legendaries we hate pulling. Razaak got an honorable mention on that. He didn't actually make the list, and this is the reason. Because he's not the most exciting hero. However, if you keep pulling him, he gets more and more exciting. He has some pretty cool additions that come with his awakenings. He's still not my favorite hero in the world, but I just want to quickly highlight his A5. We don't need to spend too much time on this, but his A5 obviously hits like a truck. Let me show you guys here. 1000% damage to all enemies in range, a monstrous AoE. If you get an A5, you got a 1 in 4 chance that thing's just gonna go off twice. So 2000% damage a quarter of the time. Pretty nuts, right?
Yeah, so this is kind of like Razaak. I have him at A5 on my global, but it's almost like I'm in this pool of Razaaks right now where he's my Regulus for my global account. So for anyone that doesn't know who I am, on Forerunner account, I've pulled Regulus probably about 37 times, and not exaggerating that. But I've also pulled Razaak on my global account about 17 times now, and I'm still missing heroes on this account, so it's kind of frustrating and infuriating, but at the end of the day, I just get to play with the Awakening shop now, so.
Fair enough. All right, so yeah, Razaak, he's got some pretty cool awakenings, definitely worth checking out. I mean, he starts getting a slow. A big gripe I have against him is he lacks utility. This gives him some utility. A bummer that it takes awakenings to properly make him awesome, but he'll get there eventually. To wrap it up, many people's favorite hero in the game right now, I think that's fair to say. We're going to talk about Valeriya. You just mentioned her with regard to Salazar. I'll just highlight Valeriya is just a single target nuke. I just featured her in a comparison yesterday in my Falsia guide. It's hard to get compared to Valeriya. She is really, really good. Just to highlight some of these awakenings, her A1, I really like it. During the ultimate, her attack speed just increased by 100. So just straight up, it's gonna, depending on your build, gonna take another 0.2 seconds or 0.3 seconds of ticks off, maybe 0.1 if you got a super high attack speed build, but that is very relevant. But just go into her A5. During the ultimate, there is a 50% chance to accumulate 2 stacks of Power of Sword of each attack, up to 12 stacks in total. That is incredible. So it goes from 8 stacks to 12 stacks. It's 50% more potent. That's where her insane damage comes from. Do you have her A5 on global?
I'm not on global. I actually have her at A2, but I'm thinking about using my Soulstone that I got today to A3er. That A3 is huge, 20% of enemies defense. That's a true blessing in disguise here. Once you get her A3, like that 20% makes a huge difference. I know Fasty, you've put out a couple videos and mentioned Estrid, old Estrid. Man, we used to abuse her on Forerunner server for our guild boss teams. Like, she would just be in there just constantly putting down 20%. So everyone was getting 20% reduction in defense on the guild boss, so it was beautiful.
To be clear, for anyone that isn't familiar, they nerfed Estrid. The reason Estrid has such a basement level, the reason she's the rarest epic in the game, besides Aatrox from my study, but people keep saying Aatrox isn't that rare. I made it very clear in that video, Aatrox was the lowest because he was the latest addition to the hero pool. Estrid is the true rarest epic in the game. The reason for that is she was an absolute goddess on Forerunner before they nerfed her. They clearly nerfed her, but did not adjust her pull rate appropriately. But Estrid used to apply basically 100% uptime, minus defense, minus 20%. So just defense reduction, minus 20%. So basically turned, what you're saying, Ray, is turned everyone into having this A3 ability. Everyone obviously always was ignoring 20% defense. My bad for glazing over that. I was just in a hurry to get to the A5 because I love it, but the A3 is crazy too. Wow, what a list, huh?
Yeah, insane. But there's so many unmentionables that could fit the list, but I'm glad that we covered the basics here for sure.
And yeah, to
this
recap,
being one of them.
Yeah, that's why I pulled a Padson. To recap, we did not cover every hero we love to keep pulling dupes of. We just wanted to highlight 12 that we absolutely love. A reason we didn't include someone like Hotsit is because, duh. Just like, there's no one of her awakenings that totally jump off the screen, but Hotsit is so amazing, so triple S tier and so rare that of course you love pulling her once, twice, 6 times. So we really tried to keep it to people where their awakenings really blew us away. All that being said, I think we're about done here, Ray. Any final thing you want to add?
No, man, I'm good. I'm just thanks again for having us here, and again, check out Dragon Slayers community, guys. Appreciate all the support.
Yeah, totally. Thank you to you for joining us and sharing your awakening and your dupe expertise. And big thank you, of course, to the Dragon Slayer community. They are an amazing resource, and personally, they are very much my inside look at Forerunner. So it's invaluable to me. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. This has been Ray. If you want to like the video, please do that. Comment. Feel free to argue with us. We'll be there in the comments arguing right alongside you. I'll see you in the next one. I'm blowing my sign-offs today. My other one was even worse.
You forgot to say share it with your mother.
I know.
I was about to do it for you.
Do it. We'll cut it in. And
share it with your mother.
There you go. Okay, thank you.
Fastidious.